And I, Bhavyashri of 3rd BA English, welcome you to the 2-day National Conference of Indian Knowledge Systems and Cultural Narratives, a literary research. Today we gather to celebrate the confluence of knowledge and narratives that define our cultural ethos.
Music has the power to elevate the soul and bring us closer to the divine. Let us now listen to a prayer song, filling this present with harmony and grace.
Lift up your hearts to the Lord. Praise God's gracious mercy. Sing out your joy to the Lord, whose love is enduring. Shout with joy to the Lord, all the earth. Praise the name above all names. Say to God, how wondrous your works, how glorious your name. Lift up your hearts to the Lord. Praise God's gracious mercy. Sing out your joy to the Lord, whose love is enduring.
May the blessings guide us throughout the program. I now invite Vaishnavi of 1st MA English to read the words from the Holy Bible.
Today's Bible reading is taken from the second book of Corinthians, chapter 9, verse 8. And God is able to make all grace abound toward you, that He, always having all sufficiency in all things, may abound to every good work. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.
I request everyone to be seated. The English department at St.Joseph's College of Arts and Science for Women has been a beacon of literary exploration and academic excellence. We now invite you to witness a glimpse of a journey through a special video presentation.
best education is that which does not merely give us information but makes our life in harmony with all existence. To officially commence this journey of harmony and intellect, I invite Dr. L. Jennifer, Head of the Department, to deliver the welcome address.
I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Isaiah 41:10. A pleasant morning to one and all present here. With immense joy and profound respect, I welcome you all to the National Conference on Indian Knowledge Systems and Cultural Narratives, a literary research organized by the Department of English. This conference serves as a vibrant platform to explore the depth of Indian literary traditions, cultural narratives, and indigenous knowledge systems that have shaped our intellectual heritage for centuries. We are really grateful for this momentous occasion. At the very outset, I extend my deepest gratitude and a warm welcome to our esteemed Secretary, Reverend Sister Dr. Donna Grace Jessie. Sister, a true beacon of wisdom, boldness, and leadership, she has always been instrumental in fostering an environment of academic excellence and ethical values in our institution. Her unwavering commitment to holistic education and scholarly pursuits continues to inspire us all. Your meticulous organization ensured the smooth functioning of our institution. I invite Ms. Vinodini and Ms. Vanita to honor our Secretary. Thank you, Sister. I take great pleasure in welcoming our respected Principal, Dr. J. Carolyn Rose. A dynamic leader and a visionary academician, she has always encouraged innovation in research and pedagogy. Under her able guidance, our institution continues to set new benchmarks in higher education. Your passion for education, encouragement, and wisdom creates an environment where learning thrives. I call upon Ms. Gladio Shilpa Vince and Ms. Suvila to honor our principal. Thank you, ma'am. This event has brought together some of the brightest minds and distinguished scholars. It is my absolute pleasure to welcome Dr. K. Charles Godwin, an esteemed Associate Professor from Jain, deemed to be University, Bangalore. With his specialization in linguistics, English language teaching, and Indian drama, Dr. Godwin has contributed extensively to academic research, including publications in Scopus and UGC Care listed journals, and has played an instrumental role in English studies. Dr. Charles Godwin, currently serving as an Associate Professor at the Center for Management Studies, Jain University, Bangalore, brings with him a wealth of knowledge and expertise in linguistics, English language teaching, and Indian drama. With over many years of teaching experience, he has been a guiding force in shaping young minds and enriching the field of language and literature. His research contributions in linguistic intelligence, cognitive approaches, and English language pedagogy have been widely recognized with numerous publications. He has also authored several books, chaired sessions at prestigious conferences, and played an integral role in various editorial boards. Beyond academia is dynamic involvement in seminars, faculty development programs, and student-centered initiatives showcase his unwavering commitment to excellence in education. Today, we are truly privileged to have him with us. We eagerly look forward to gaining valuable insights from his expertise and engaging in an enriching session. Welcome, sir. I request Ms. Vijayalakshmi and Dr. Vijay Shanti to honor him. Thank you, sir. Next, it's my pleasure to extend a special and heartfelt welcome to Dr. R. Srilata, Associate Professor, School of Arts and Humanities, Christ, deemed to be University, Bengaluru, Karnataka. It is with great pleasure and immense honor I extend a special welcome to this esteemed academician, dedicated researcher, and an inspiring mentor. Dr. Srilata, with a vast expertise in English literature and language studies, has made remarkable contributions to the field of education. As an associate professor at Christ University, Bengaluru, she has played a pivotal role in shaping the minds of students and researchers alike. Her scholarly works, including journal articles, books, and research projects, reflect a deep commitment to academic excellence and intellectual growth. Beyond her publications, she has actively participated in national and international conferences, presenting insightful research on diverse literary themes. Her involvement in guiding MPhil and PhD scholars further showcases a dedication to nurturing future scholars. As a dedicated researcher and an inspiring educator, your work in diaspora studies, gender studies, and literary criticism has illuminated many young minds. Today, we are privileged to have her with us, and we look forward to your dynamic ideas. I invite Ms. Julia Persis and Ms. Anita to honor her. Welcome, dear ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. I also extend my warm greetings to all the head of the departments, professors, scholars, and participants who have gathered here. Your enthusiasm and commitment to literary research are what make this conference a meaningful and enriching experience. Over the next 2 days, we will engage in stimulating discussions, exchange groundbreaking ideas, and gain fresh perspectives on the richness of Indian literary traditions and cultural narratives. I am confident that this conference will open new avenues for research and inspire deeper explorations into the treasures of our intellectual and literary heritage. Once again, I welcome you all and wish you an enlightening and fruitful conference. Thank you.
Today, we are deeply honored to have among us a visionary whose guidance continues to uplift and inspire generations of learners. It is with immense gratitude and respect that I invite Reverend Sister Dr. Donna Grace Jaisalli, Secretary of St.Joseph College of Arts and Science for Women, to deliver the felicitation address.
Respected dignitaries, esteemed scholars and participants, dear principal and faculty members. It is with great honor and immense pleasure that I extend my heartfelt felicitation to all present at this prestigious National Conference on Indian Knowledge Systems and cultural narratives. A literary research, thus gathering of scholars, researchers, and academicians, marks a significant milestone in our collective pursuit of rediscovering and preserving the rich intellectual heritage of India. Indian knowledge system have been the foundation of our civilization, encompassing a vast spectrum of disciplines: philosophy, linguistics, literature, science, medicine, and the arts. Our cultural narratives embedded in ancient texts, oral traditions, and the historical manuscripts provide us with invaluable insights into the wisdom that has shaped our society over millennia. This conference is a platform to encourage a meaningful discussion, to explore interdisciplinary perspectives, and contribute to the ongoing revival of our indigenous intellectual traditions. I express my sincere appreciation to the organizers, esteemed speakers, dedication and scholarly enthusiasm have made this event possible. Your contributions will undoubtedly illuminate new paths for research, inspiring future generations to delve deeper into the essence of Indian knowledge and culture. May this conference be a beacon of enlightenment, fostering intellectual curiosity and reinforcing our commitment to preserving and promoting the invaluable literary and cultural heritage of India. I formally inaugurate this conference, wishing you all a productive and enriching experience. Thank you.
Thank you, sister. Since time immemorial, the flame has been a sacred symbol of enlightenment, wisdom, and eternal knowledge. In literature, a single candle can define an entire darkness, and in learning, the light of knowledge is passed from one mind to another, illuminating generations. Today, as we light the sacred lamp once again, let us reflect on the 7 unique roles it symbolizes. I now request our Secretary, Reverend Sister Dr. Donna Grace J. Seeley, to light the lamp of creativity. I now request Dr. R. Sheelatha to light the lamp of harmony. I now request Dr. Charles Godwin to light the lamp of identity. I now request our Principal, Dr. J. Carolyn Rose, to light the lamp of resilience. I now request Dr. G. Kartika to light the lamp of expression. I now request Dr. L. Jennifer to light the lamp of legacy. I now request Ms. Bhavya Shri, President of English Department, to light the lamp of transformation. Thank you, everyone.
I would like to invite our esteemed principal, Dr. J. Carolyn Rose, who is not just a figurehead but a passionate advocate for intellectual curiosity, academic rigor, and the pursuit of knowledge, to deliver the presidential address.
Wisdom preserves those who have it. Honorable Secretary Sister, distinguished guests, admired scholars, and dear participants. It's my honor and privilege to welcome you all to this national conference on Indian knowledge system and cultural narrative literature research. Today we have come together to explore and celebrate India's rich tradition of knowledge and literature. India has long been a cradle of knowledge, nurturing diverse disciplines such as philosophy, science, medicine, arts and literature. Our ancient scriptures such as Thirukural, Silappatikaram, Manimekalai, Ramayanam, Sangam literature, Mahabharatam have shaped our culture and influenced the world. In today's fast challenging world, it's important to reconnect with this deep-rooted tradition through research and discussion. This conference gives us an opportunity to study the literature work that have shaped Indian thoughts for generations. Through literatures, we can rediscover the philosophies, stories, and regional tradition that makes Indian knowledge unique. Most importantly, these discussions helps us to connect the past with the present and inspire new ideas. I sincerely appreciate all the scholars and participants for sharing their valuable insights. Your research helps keep our intellectual tradition alive. I also thank the organizing team for their hard work in making this event possible. As we move forward with our discussion, let us engage with curiosity, respect, and a shared goal of preserving and promoting Indian knowledge system. I hope this conference sparks new idea, encourage meaningful conversations, and make an important contribution to literary research. Wishing you all an enriching and thought-provoking experience. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Cultural narratives, deeply embedded in our collective consciousness, have not only defined India's literary identity, but have also influenced world literature. I call upon our organizing chair, Ms. E. Vinodini, Assistant Professor of English Department, to share about the conference.
Given to you, seek and you will find. Knock, the door will be opened to you. Matthew chapter 7, verse 7. Honorable Secretary, respected Principal, distinguished guests of the day, Dr. K. Charles Godwin, Dr. R. Srilata, presenters, participants from various colleges, my dear staff and students, on behalf of the organizing committee, I am delighted to offer the most hospitable welcome and I take immense pleasure in bringing out the theme of our conference, Indian Knowledge Systems and Cultural Narrative, a Literary Research. This conference is a humble attempt to unravel the rich tapestry of Indian knowledge systems and their cultural narratives. It's with great pleasure that we acknowledge the endeavor of RENASCENTIA, our association, a testament to the collaborative efforts of our team. The term RENASCENTIA, derived from Latin, aptly signifies rebirth, reflecting our department's commitment to revitalizing and advancing knowledge through such initiatives. The conference is to explore the intersection of Indian knowledge systems and cultural narratives, to analyze the relevance of Indian knowledge systems in contemporary context. We are thrilled to have received an overwhelming response of participation and presentation of 45 papers from the states of Jammu and Kashmir, Uttar Pradesh, Kerala, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu, out of which 38 papers have been selected for presentation and publication. I firmly believe that this platform will present an opportunity for all the participants to exchange cutting-edge ideas on Indian knowledge systems and cultural narratives. As I conclude, I would like to quote the ancient Indian proverb, "Knowledge is the ultimate wealth." I hope that this initial step and your gracious presence with us will mark the beginning of the productive path. Together, let us prosper, advance, and excel in the footsteps of our eminent scholars. Thank you.
The proceeding encapsulate the depth and diversity of scholarly contribution made during this conference, offering a lasting resources for future research and engagement with India's intellectual and cultural heritage. To mark this momentous occasion, I now invite our Secretary, Reverend Sister Dr. Donna Grace Jayasili and Dr. K. Charles Godwin to formally release the proceedings.
Thank you, everyone. Now we delve deeper into knowledge as the first plenary session commences. I invite Dr. K. Charles Godwin to share his opinions on Blue Humanities SDG 14 Life Underwater.
So, good morning. So, such a vibrant department and a wonderful arrangements and a red carpet welcome for all the professors from the student, from the department, from the faculties, from the management. So today, first and foremost, I thank the Almighty for making this day possible. In all the ways, the national conference should be of a greater success, and it should reach the students in order to enrich them in all the possible ways. The topic that the department heads has introduced is very relevant to the present generation and to the current trend, because the initiative that we are initiating in humanities department is almost all with the same goal of fulfilling all the criteria from the NAC to make the education even more better, to make it student-centric, project-centric, multidisciplinary, and even the experiential learning which is emerging from the student-centric point of view is highly acclaimed. So I could able to find many students from St. Joseph's College. They are getting rank holders, that they are projecting themselves to be the best among all the colleges affiliated to Periyar University. So in that way, I congratulate the principal, the chairman, the secretary, the department heads for brightening the students in all the ways, in all the possible ways of bringing new things into the department. So I could able to find the language department is full-fledged with varied energetic thoughts, innovative thing that you are making yourself to put into as the recent trendsetters of today's generation. So first and foremost, thank Reverend Secretary, the Principal, HOD, and the other researchers, those who are contributing for this two-day national conference on Indian knowledge systems and cultural narratives, literary research. The title itself, they have given it like a kind of a literary research. So this dimension is something which is very innovative, where students should focus on the research. And my title today is based on Blue Humanities, Sustainable Development Goal 14, Life Under Water. Can you just move to the first slide? Blue Humanities emerged in the year 2009 by Stephen Menz, who has coined this word as Blue Humanities. It refers to an interdisciplinary approach, cultural approach, the shift from the present to the past and to the future of bringing this concept of sustainable development goals in order to achieve in 2030. And this Blue Humanities is related towards the coastal, the marine, the ocean, and the seas. So coming back to the quotes by William Shakespeare, The Tempest. Full fathom thy father lies, of his bones are coral made. Those are pearls that were his eyes, nothing of him that doth fade, but doth suffer a sea change into something rich and strange. How many of you have read this play by Shakespeare, Tempest? Have you heard about this? The Tempest by William Shakespeare? Fine. So this particular quotes from the play Tempest is narrated by the Ariel, the character name called Ariel. And here you could able to find the characters, that is Prospero and Caliban, who is considered to be as one of the ancestor of that particular island. And the research around it, it goes with post-colonialism. But here, when we talk about the sea, the Blue Humanities, where Shakespeare talks about the strangeness of the sea, the wealthy part of the sea is being narrated in such a way that the projection of the sea itself becomes a metaphor. So many writers from the past to the present, they are bringing certain images, certain stereotypical way of representing the sea itself in a way as a kind of an image. And this portrayal of oceans and seas in literature is an interdisciplinary approach of looking into the narratives and the cultural approach towards it, the way how it is dealt with the problems, the environmental concern, and the tradition and culture, which is a part and parcel of a ritual when you deal with the oceans and seas. So thinking about Indian knowledge system and cultural narratives, here if you take, next slide. So the Indian knowledge system and cultural narratives, there are many writers from the Indian subcontinent where they have talked about the culture, values and traditions from the marine and from the coastal regions, especially with Tagali Sivasankaran Pillai's Chemmin. He speaks about the rituals and practices as a part of the culture, and you were able to find the sea as a deity is being worshipped by the people, and you could able to find the narration part goes on by a feministic perspective where you can narrate or look into a lens of a feministic blue humanities, and the author has given various examples how to conserve nature and how sea becomes a part and parcel of their life itself, because the entire resources of the sea is their economy and their life sustains only because of the sea. So coming back to the introduction to blue humanities, it is an emerging interdisciplinary field that explores the relationship between human culture and the ocean, sea and other water bodies. It integrates perspectives from literature, history, philosophy, environmental studies and marine science to understand how humans have interacted with aquatic environments throughout history and how these interactions shape our cultural narratives, identities and ecological consciousness. So this ecological consciousness speaks about the sustainable development goal where we are talking about life underwater, change and climate change on coastal communities. So if you take climate change, so this is also one of the concern because you find the North Pole and the South Pole which is getting melted, and it's a kind of unpredictable climatic condition where each and every day humans are surviving because of certain environmental disasters and the climate change which is unpredictable, and naturally it becomes a disaster where you could not able to expect the rain and even the seasons are getting interchanged. So these are all some of the issues that the authors speak in different versions of their works. Yes, next slide. And if you take the role of literature in environmental awareness, you have the study called cultural studies, feminism, ecofeminism, feministic blue humanities, and then you have another emerging field like anthropology. So, next. If you take some of the writers like Matthew Arnold, Dover Beach, here you could able to find a poem which speaks about sea, which speaks about an author's imaginary world who has created it. And in the beginning part of the poem, the sea is calm tonight. So you could able to find a kind of image that Matthew Arnold brings in this particular poem by elaborating the beauty of the sea. The imaginary world which has been created by the author is being projected through the lines. And when this particular poem was prescribed to me during my undergrads of my UG career, I could able to imagine the author has brought a beautiful world and how this world of the sea is connected towards human emotion, the human intelligence, the human struggle, and the sea has a kind of a correlation between the human soul and the human mind, and the world where the author has created with the beautiful imagery where the sea itself is being given a metaphorical literary term in order to bring his visualization. So the sea is calm tonight, the tide is full, the moon lies fair upon the straits. On the French coast, the light gleams and is gone. The cliffs of England stand, glimmering and vast out in the tranquil bay. So the imagery, what the author tries to bring through his words, through his coinage of an imagination that he wants to put into the form of a poetry, is something which can be imagined. So this imagery and imagination that the author wants to bring towards the reader is something which is unimaginable. And even if you take the Victorian writers or the Elizabethan writers, and even if you take Wordsworth, Shelley, Coleridge, so they bring their own imagination, and this imaginary part of bringing the sea as an entity from our own life is something which needs to be considered, because almost all we have read many novels and poems related towards sea. And even if you take a person, one who is into literature, ultimately you could able to find it's like spontaneity and imagination. So this spontaneity and imagination coincides with humanities people, not with the science people. So even though the study is interdisciplinary, you could able to find a kind of a correlation which moves hand in hand with imagination and with spontaneity, and you bring those beautiful words of coinage to make yourself as a poet. Next slide. So this is one of the pioneer work and the present work. So how many of you have watched this movie, Life of Pi? So almost all 70 to 80% of them have watched this movie, Life of Pi. So if you take the character, he travels with the sea, with the tiger, and you could be able to find a kind of a symbiotic relationship that moves on as a kind of a narration, and you find a kind of a correlation between human world and the marine world, and the only survival part for this particular character is from the resources that he gets from sea. And even you could be able to find a floating island which is imaginary, but the narrator has brought such a imaginary world, thinking that the island itself is a survival part for the humans. So you could be able to find a life which sustains in that particular floating island, and the character, when he reaches that particular island, he stays there for 2-3 days, and then he collects some of the food that he gets from the island, and then he goes back, and ultimately he reaches an island in Japan, and then he starts narrating his story, where people doesn't believe him, because he wants to narrate the end part of the story in a different tone where people will believe him. So no one believes his narration. But if you take the author, so this particular novel by Ian Martel is taken into an account for making it as a movie, and this adaptation has made from the novel to the creator, and then ultimately the projection of the novel, where Ian Martel's narration has given a shape through technology and through animation. And this technological animation has spoken many things about marine life, and this marine life with human sustainability and existentialism that happens from the character through his journey is something which makes you to have a kind of a more into traveling with the author itself. So whenever you read this novel, you will be traveling with the author, you will be traveling with the character. And from the past, you could be able to find one of the important work by Herman Melville, Moby Dick, where he speaks about Captain Ahab, where he wants to kill a whale, and later on you could be able to find the drastic, devastating effect from the character to kill a whale is highly impossible. So when he takes a harpoon and then he goes to hunt for the whale, so ultimately what happens, the whale devastates the ship, and then Ahab has been killed. So you could be able to find the story which revolves around the sea, which revolves around the character, which revolves around the blue whale, where it has to be hunted for human reasons. So you don't have much personal revenge to kill the whale, but it is only for the human pleasure and other things, like you get economy from the whale, so you go for a hunt. So ultimately what happens when you are not successful in killing a whale, and ultimately you sacrifice your life for the sake of your selfish act. Yes, next. So how this blue humanities is relevant to this particular scenario? So what makes blue humanities so relevant towards the department, towards sustainable goal? You have many case studies to be analyzed, and they have given many examples of conservation in literature. And if you take Nike shoes, it has been created from the recycled plastics that they collect from oceans. So the company has created a kind of a recycled shoes that they have collected it from the oceans. So many people, they throw the trash. So what this company has made is, it has collected all the plastic waste, and then it has created a kind of a thread. Through that they have created a shoe. And you have many garments factory, where this garments factory are using all those recycled things where we get from nature itself. And again you find a new product, like you have jute bags, and then we are just replacing all the plastic bags into paper bags. And today you have many plant-based garments which is emerging into the market. And ultimately you could able to find the sustainable development goal that we are reaching towards 2030 is something which is very innovative, and every student should come up with a kind of a patent. So now the universities are encouraging the student community to come up with their own patentable ideas. So these patentable ideas will be of a huge use for the entire humanity, and especially if you take some of the interdisciplinary departments like marine engineering, then from humanities we contribute our own thoughts, and with other data analytical departments from computer science. So you can create something new, so that you create your own thoughts into designable products. So these designable products, when it has been patented, so ultimately it serves the humanity. So you have sea oil spill cleaning task, and then collecting plastics from the ocean, and then you have recent trends in literature, so impact of climate change on literature and marine life, and role of digital humanities. So if you take the role of digital humanities, especially the storytelling, the folklore, how it has been narrated, and then the poetry and the music, so engaging with maritime songs. And you have documentary and filmmaking, encouraging students to create ocean-related documentaries and digital storytelling projects. So these are all some of the ways that you can make yourself to have your own creative thought, creative mind, to create something new of your own creativity. So we from the literature department, instead of reading the other text, so we should become an author. So now the trend is, you have to create something new, because you have multiple platforms in order to exhibit your talent. So you have multiple ways of projections, and you have multiple ways of getting research papers from various sources. So you have to think something new, so that you become a better storyteller, you become a good narrator. You have to be a dynamic, empowered women character, that you can raise voice against women issues. So especially if you take from the feministic perspective, you can analyze a text in varied forms, so related to women problems, related to the task that the women is undergoing these days. So these are the things that you have to re-look into it, and then you can come up with your own narration, you can come up with your own documentary and filmmaking tasks. So if you take this blue humanities and indigenous knowledge, so this indigenous literature often embeds ecological wisdom. So I'll give you an example. So recently I was doing a project with Soligas. So these Soliga community is an indigenous tribe from the Western Ghats. And these people, they have a unique technique of safeguarding the tiger. So they live in the forest, they are with the nature. You could able to find around 8 hamlets inside the Western Ghats, and there's BR Hills and MM Hills, you find the Sholigat tribes. And these people follow a indigenous traditional system and a knowledge in order to preserve nature, in order to conserve tigers. So you could able to find the symbiotic relationship that goes with the people of Sholigas, with the nature, with the forest, with the resources that you get from the forest, is something which is undetachable. So these people live in the midst of the forest, and you could able to find lots of folklore tales from their own community. So especially it is not the ocean, but it is a land. And even in Tamil you have Kurunji, Mullai, Maradam, Neidal and Palai. So these are the 5 landscapes that we have in Tamil. But here in literature, we are shifting our focus from the land towards sea. And this sea is something which is very vast, and we have talked many things about the sea from the past to the present. And from the past, when it was a kind of a utilitarian thing, where people were thinking about a sea as a kind of a voyage. And even if you take Ulysses, king of Ithaca, when he was taking his voyage, this voyage itself is a kind of a quest. And even if you take the last part of the poem of Ulysses, he says about to thrive, to seek, to find, and not to yield. So it's a kind of a quest, it's a kind of a journey that he has taken throughout his life, and especially the narration which goes on and on and on, where sea itself, or the sea or ocean, which becomes a imagery, from the author's perspective, and the sea itself becomes a metaphor. So you have this SDGs, that is corporate responsibilities in ocean sustainability, that is recycle, reduce and reuse. So impact of climate change, so already we have seen the important work is Amitav Ghosh and Agri-Tide. So Richard Flanagan's Gall's Book of Fish. Next. So now, educational approach to blue humanities, already we have seen with the storytelling, poetry and music, documentary and filmmaking. And future of blue humanities, you have cultural literary representation, historical and colonial perspectives. So this cultural and literary representations is culturally bound. So this cultural and literary representation, when it is represented from the Indian author, you find some of the words which is coined regionally. So you have to concentrate on some of the regional words where the author is highlighting only with the traditional knowledge system and the belief that he has to his traditional roots. That is something which is inevitable. So if you take some of the works of Amitav Ghosh, he speaks about the marine dolphin in one of his work. I think that is Hungry Tide. So you could able to find a kind of a cultural representation which has been represented by the author, and this cultural representation is something which is inevitable when it is narrated from the Indian perspective. So this knowledge system is something which is inherited from our ancestors, and this ancestral roots has to be preserved from our own genetic responsibilities. Conclusion. So coming back to the conclusion and call to action. So Blue Humanities provides a critical lens to rethink humanities' connections with water bodies, fostering a deeper appreciation of maritime cultures, ecological responsibilities, and oceanic histories. By bringing together scholars, activists, and policymakers, it promotes a holistic understanding of the ocean as a space of life, meaning, and sustainability. So my concern is, as a scholarly student, as an activist, as a policy maker, you have to promote a holistic understanding of the ocean as a space of life And we have many literary work which is related to ocean, which is related to life, which is related to our own sustainable development goals. And these goals and the Indian knowledge system and tradition that we still follow from our own tradition and culture, that needs to be preserved, and we need to carry the legacy to the upcoming generation. Thank you.
A pause for thought and a cup of tea. Let us come back at 11:40 a.m. for our next session. Dear participants, you are requested to go to St. Cecilia Multipurpose Hall. Let us come back at 11:50 a.m. Dear participants, you are requested to go to St. Cecilia Multipurpose Hall for refreshment.